Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to another Witcher video by me, the Witcher George. So I'm back and I'm making something a little bit different today that I feel like it's been a long time since I've done. I realized recently that it's been a long time since I've made a video just discussing a short bit of lore, a little bit more freeform, less sort of scripted all the rest, and just something that I'm particularly interested in within the Witcher lore. So I was looking back on some old videos, because recently I finished recording my final Witcher 3 Hearts of Stone part, which will be out very soon. I was recording for about 8 hours, and I'm gonna cut it down a lot. It was a long recording session. There was a lot of stuff I had to do, a lot of stuff to cut, but it was really fun. So I went back and looked at one of my older videos, and this is a video I did over 2 years ago now, and it was on Olgierd von Everec. In fact, it was one of my earliest videos. And I realized that obviously back then I was less experienced with Witcher lore, and I made a couple minor mistakes. And I only remember those mistakes because Hearts of Stone, obviously I've just finished it for the, I don't know how many times I've played the game at this point, but I realized I made a few mistakes in regards to what his wishes actually were, and the sort of effects that happened from them, and all that sort of stuff. So I thought it might be quite fun today, just to make a quick video discussing what Olgierd's wishes actually were, why they were made, and what the sort of consequences to an extent of them were. And I just want this to be basic. I just want it to be the sort of thing that maybe when you finish playing Hearts of Stone, you're like, hang on, what did Olgierd actually wish for? What was it that he wanted? Then you can just watch this video and be like, oh, okay, I get it. This is what he actually was trying to get out of Gaunter. I'll also just say, before we get properly into today's Witcher lore video, that I'm actually doing something sort of similar on my Cyberpunk channel. I've only announced this on my actual YouTube community tab, and I feel like a lot of you might not know about that. So if you're curious about what sort of Cyberpunk stuff I'm doing, go and check out that channel. I'd really appreciate it, guys, so thank you for doing that. Okay, so to begin, as I'm sure a lot of you know, Olgierd, prior to actually meeting Gaunter, fell on some hard times. He basically lost everything. He lost his supposed-to-be betrothed wife, Iris. He lost all his fortunes. Well, just long story short, he lost pretty much everything he had, and he went from being a rich noble to a sort of common person, I guess you could call it, within The Witcher. And obviously, he wanted to get this all back. And this is where pretty much the entirety of the Hearts of Stone events spawns from. This desire to get it all back. So Olgierd was on hard times, I imagine probably drinking a lot, in not a very good situation, and he met a wandering witch. It was completely by chance. I imagine it could have been in a tavern or something like that, and she told him of someone that could cure all his ailments, and he was called Master Mirror. So he arranged a meeting with this Master Mirror at a crossroads. A pact was signed in blood, and a price was agreed. This price being that Master Mirror, or Gaunter O'Dimm, would effectively fulfill all of his wishes if he would give up someone he loved. And currently at that time, he only loved 2 people in the whole world. And these 2 people were Iris and Vladimir. And if you've played the expansion, you'll know that he gave up Vladimir. So a lot of you might be trying to work out, okay, what were his 3 wishes when he made this pact with Gaunter? As in, what were the exact words he used? What caused all this stuff to happen? What was it that he wanted? So, the first wish was to win back Iris's hand. He wanted to get Iris back. He wanted to be able to be in a situation where he could marry her. The second wish was to have his fortunes restored, and the third wish was to live like there's no tomorrow. Obviously, these wishes are pretty vague, which is why Gaunter was able to exploit them as much as he did in the Hearts of Stone expansion. That is effectively what Olgierd wished for. He wished for those 3 things. I'm sure, as you guys will know, he did get Iris's hand back eventually, and this was effectively through him unintentionally, although I'm pretty sure he was quite happy about it, turning the fairy prince she was supposed to marry instead of him. Effectively, she was not going to marry him because he'd fallen on hard times. Her family was quite rich. They thought he wasn't suitable. They thought he was this sort of bandity person. Didn't really like him, so they found a fairy prince and said that she was going to marry him. So Olgierd turned him into a giant toad, although he says it was by accident, and it kind of left them with only Olgierd, I think, effectively. So he got Iris's hand back. The second was to have his fortunes restored, which sort of came in the way of Iris's family, because they decided they wanted to pay off all of his bank debts, so he would effectively be free of all debt. He also got his house back a bit before this. I imagine it was to do with all the wishes. It's not exactly explicitly said how he got everything back, but it's assumed that Iris's family basically paid off the majority of his debts, which obviously Olgierd is quite prideful, and he did not like this. And the third, which was to live like there's no tomorrow, effectively allowed Gaunter to get the most exploitation he could. He turned Olgierd's heart to stone, which was a side effect of the wish, as Olgierd puts it, and it was good for a time because he felt no fear, no angst, but he also felt no concern or care for those that he loved, and gradually over time he lost everybody he loved, so Iris. because of this. And the words "live like there's no tomorrow," Gaunter sort of interpreted this in his own way as live until he gradually ceased to feel anything, because if you live and there's no sleep, there's no end to your life, you just keep living, you're immortal effectively, like Olgierd was, you would feel like there was sort of no point after a time, and that's what happened. So those were his 3 wishes, and assuming you save him in the Hearts of Stone expansion, his heart does actually return to normal, and then all he feels is grief, sadness, and defeat, and he realizes that his life is a complete ruin, so he gives Geralt his swords that had been with him throughout all of it, and then tries to move on to have a better life. I'll also add that within the contract, this isn't something that is explicitly stated during a lot of the discussions around what he wished for, but it is something that we learn obviously through playing the expansion, and it's that the contract had a sort of small print that Gaunter would get Olgierd's soul, assuming he did something else for him. And this something else was to solve 3 more of Olgierd's wishes, and this was through a proxy, and then both must stand together on the moon. Obviously, Olgierd assumed that not only would he not be able to find somebody like him that would just fulfill 3 wishes for him, but then he also thought there's no way they could stand on the moon because they would both suffocate and die, so that was never going to happen. But as you'll know if you played the Hearts of Stone expansion, this is something that does ultimately happen, and the outcome of this depends on what you decide as a player. But anyway, that's it for today's short Witcher lore video. I just wanted to discuss this because I thought it was something that was pretty interesting. I feel like it's something that a lot of people might be confused about, as it's something that, well, for the longest time I was pretty confused about, because you get told what it is throughout the story, and then you spend like a year having not played it, or a few months, and you kind of forget all the little details. So I hope this video will just give you an idea of effectively what Olgierd wished for and what it led to. I mean, obviously, I think I did add this, but I'll just say as well that Vladimir was killed to fulfill the first part of Olgierd's wishes, and that's how we got everything back, effectively. But no, be sure to like today's video for more Witcher videos, be sure to subscribe. I'm going to try and do some more Witcher videos, guys. I think that I'll be able to make videos like this, some short little fun lore videos that just little subjects here and there, because obviously making the big lore videos takes me a very, very long time, which is why they take so long to come out. But I'm going to try and work on them. I'm going to try and do the part 2 of the Kahir video, as that was a lot of fun to make, and I will get back to you all soon. The final Witcher 3 Hearts of Stone part will also be out soon, so I appreciate you guys checking out that. I also want to say to keep an eye on my 2 new channels, Samurai George and Ranger George, as I'm planning to do new stuff on there very soon. I've already started with Samurai George, but Ranger George, I'm going to be doing some fun stuff on there. I'm going to be moving away from livestream VOD content and making actual videos on there. So I hope you guys appreciate that. I hope you guys are having an awesome week, and I will see you all in the next video. Thank you all for watching so much. I really do appreciate it.